Hi guys, welcome to another installment of Vocal DBA. Actually, you know what? The name is changed. So it's RDBMS DBA Professional. So today I'm going to take you through a complete look at Oracle 11G Data Guard, and pretty much I'm gonna you're gonna learn about some 11G Data Guard concepts. You're gonna learn about physical and standby database. So you're also gonna learn about data guard broker concepts and how to use it. You're going to learn about the DGMGRL utility and the supported commands for that client. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so and again, so this is a lesson plan. I'm gonna have an introduction to the Oracle Data Guard, and after that, I have a hands-on demo how to set up Data Guard software in your for your databases. And then I'm gonna go into what is the Oracle Data Guard Broker. I'm gonna have a review of the different components, process and settings that you can that are configurable for the Data Guard Broker. And also I have an image of the Data Guard Broker, and I'm gonna explain how it operates. And then after that, I'm gonna have a hands-on demo on how to configure the Data Guard Broker. And the different settings for your primary and for your standby databases using the DGMGRL commands and the client and the DGMGRL client. And then I'm gonna cover the 11G data guard features and functionalities, especially the active data guard and snapshot standby. And these are the two features I will introduce with the 11G data guard software. And I'm gonna have a hands-on demo on how to enable the active data guard for your data guard environment. Then I'm gonna basically take you through how to perform a change to how to change database flow. This is also called a switchover. Basically, I'm gonna go into the concept during the tutorial. So basically, you would have a primary database converted to a physical standby database, or a physical standby database basically being converted to a primary database. And then I'm also going to have a demo on how to configure your snapshot standby databases. And then I'm going to cover the FAL underscore server and the FAL underscore client. These are two parameters that you can configure for your databases that are part of that are in your data guard environment. So I'm going to go into how to configure what these two settings are, and basically just tell you how to set them up for for your data environment. Then I have an image of the log transport services and also log apply services for your data guard environment and how these two services will work. I also have a data guard architecture with the processes and components. Um, you know what? I think just give me 1 second. I'll be right back. So as I was saying, I'm going to, and then I have an image after explaining what the log transport services and the log apply services are, and also just explaining the architecture. I'm gonna go into the architecture for the data guard. For each data guard architecture, I'm gonna explain the process, the operations, and some of the components. And then I'm going to cover the database roles. I'm gonna go into what are the supported database roles for data guard. You have physical, you have logical, you have primary, and you have standby, you have snapshot standby. I'm gonna go into the definitions, and then secondly I'm gonna go into the attributes, the processes and the procedures for and again, so procedure is really more about what's going on internally in terms of these database roles. And then I'm gonna go into what the different protection modes are. I have definitions for the protection modes and how these protection modes are used, and also how you can set up, configure your settings for these protection modes. Um, And then I'm gonna explain how video data is transferred within protection modes. This again, this is a minor typo, but it should be again. So it's just how the video data transfer. So based on how you on the configuration you actually have for your protection mode, your data, the video data is going to be transferred differently. So I'm gonna go into the details as far as what are the benefits, the pluses and minuses of having one particular protection mode over another. And then I'm gonna have a hands-on demo how to change your protection mode settings. And then after that, I'll have some closing notes. Okay, so let's go. So, what is DataGuard? DataGuard is an open software utility. Basically, DataGuard is a proprietary software that was developed by Oracle. DataGuard was actually introduced in Oracle 9i. Actually, no, the title DataGuard was introduced in Oracle 9i. The concept of having a DataGuard software actually was actually introduced in Oracle 8i, and basically that was actually the name for that software at that time was the standby service. So you had 8i with the standby service name, and then you have 9i that which is when it took the title of took the name of DataGuard, and then eventually again it became widely known as the DataGuard software. And the purpose for DataGuard is basically to allow users to create standby databases. So these standby databases are going to act as federal database for the production environment. So let's say if you have if your server fails, your system fails. So what you're able to do is you're able to you're able to have a database that's an exact replica of your production database. Basically, take over as a primary database and service a user request. So it's still gonna, again, it's because because it's an exact replica, it has a lot of data that users already had access to in the primary database. So basically, it's all about just configuring that secondary database and making sure that you have all the that you have the data that's contained in that database is actually consistent with the data that was in the primary database. And again, so this is a reliable method in terms of setting up your disaster recovery. So you have other options. You also have Golden Gate, and you also have RAC, which is real application clusters. Um, and in terms of the terminology, so you have a primary database. So the primary database, as I was telling you, as I was just telling you, basically it's just a production database. This is the main database in your data configuration. And basically, how you know that you have a primary database is basically you have it's assigned the database role of primary. So if you query the database role, which is one of your which is a setting, for as you're querying, the status, the role for your data, then basically it's gonna the query is gonna the value inside that column is gonna say primary. So you know that you're in the production database, and that you are potentially writing to a physical standby or a logical standby database. And so basically, and also any database can be turned into a primary database. So you can have a physical standby database, and eventually that database can be you can perform a switch over. You can perform maybe two different configurations. You can have that standby database actually take over as a primary database. And then also, secondly, you have standby database. So standby database, and again, so it is you would consider it a production database because you do have live data, so you're able to query that database. And basically, as I was telling you, so this database can actually act as a primary database or a failover database when your primary database fails. And also, you might feel more comfortable, just referring to your primary database as a true primary database. Um, and again, so your primary database once it's not, that database is not responsive. And again, so what's going to happen is that based on your configuration, based on the setting that you set up, then basically you would have, all of the you would have all the users being redirected to basically the standby database, and they would have access to that database and be able to, and again, just perform the same, the various operations, such as reading or writing to the database. And also with standby databases, they may or may not be exact replica of your primary database. So basically, so you would have you would have a standby database to have it, and again, so to be to hold this consistent data that's being stored on your primary database. But this may not be the case. So what I'm trying to say is that, so if you get into with a with so if you have a physical standby database, basically you have a read you would you again, if your configuration is set properly, you would have a read consistent database. That's not gonna be a problem. But when you get into having a logical standby database, or another another type of database, then basically that's when the exact replica count expectation is actually sort of uh, taken aback, because it's not guaranteed that you're going to have an exact replica for your primary database, or your production or your live data. So that leads me to basically the comparison between having a logical standby versus the physical standby, and in terms of the supported standby database types, you have physical, you have logical, and you have standby. So I think I might be trying to say, what I might be trying to say here is basically snapshot standby. I'm gonna get into this standby database type, in the tutorial. So in terms of the standby databases, they provide data integrity, high availability, read access to production data, recoverability, and high database performance. So you might be wondering, okay, so what does that mean, right? So data integrity, basically what you're doing is, so only the data that your users are committing to the primary database is being transferred to the standby database. So basically you ensure that there's no corruption to your data, right? High availability, basically, and so you have a failover. You have a secondary failover system. So if your primary system fails, primary database side fails, then you have a standby database, which is a secondary database, and then you have read access to your production data. So if you have a physical standby, which is a replica and is a replica of your production database, basically a user would have access to that database and be able to query, use select statements to retrieve different result sets from that standby database. Recoverability, basically, you have a secondary environment. Based on your configuration, you're able to, not lose any data. And again, so you just have to configure it correctly. And then high database performance, basically, again, this goes into, not only having a secondary database, but also the configuration that you apply to the primary database. This gets into the protection mode for the database. And so standby databases can operate in managed recovery mode. So what managed recovery mode is, basically, it's the mode that you set the standby database into, that you place the standby database into. And basically what happens is that the transfer video data that's going to be captured by that standby database is actually going to be, after it's captured, it's going to be applied to the standby database without you having to intervene. So that's what managed video is. You enable that setting, and basically and Oracle, and you have various processes in the background that are going to be responsible for basically just the redo data, the transferring, the various processes that are going on internally. So this all happens after you've placed your standby database in managed recovery mode. And again, so with managed recovery mode, all the redo data is applied to all of your standby database, and you don't have to do anything else. So what I'll do now is I'm gonna take you through how to set up Oracle Data software. I have one database. It's V 11G H3. So what I'll do is I already have, and again, so this is my database, the V11G2H3. And I also have like a instead of a list of instructions on how to set up data guard. So what I'll do is I'm gonna take you line by line and show you how to do it on your own desktop or your on your own for your own databases, right? So first thing I'll do is let me just go to, okay, so this is it. Okay, so what I'll do is, so generally what you want to do is you want to be able to back up your database before you go any further, right? Back up your database to ensure that if the configuration fails, then you have a fallback point. But for this tutorial, I'm not gonna do that because, and again, so this is not a production environment. This is more of a demo. This is more for demo purposes. But basically, what you would do is you would just, make sure that you connect to the RMAN, connect to the recovery card. Actually, you know what? What you want to do is you want to be able to not connect to the recovery catalog, but just connect to the control file catalog. And basically, so what you're able to do is you're able to take a backup of your database plus the archive log. But basically, what you're doing is you're going to be storing in the control file catalog as opposed to the recovery catalog. And with the control file catalog, basically, what that's going to do is it's going to allow for you to basically be able to restore and recover your database if your database is actually shut down. So you only have access to a recovery catalog if your database is operational. So and again, so that then you get into basically having a different site for a recovery catalog, which gets really complicated. But just to simplify it, having a control file catalog, if you're doing it locally, it's the safer route. Um, so first thing you want to do is you want to enable archive log mode. So what I'll do is I'm going to check on my database. Right, this is going to be my de facto primary database. I need to check for if my archive log mode is enabled. So first thing I do is I'm going to run the archive log list command. So copy that and then paste that on my window. So I do have archive log list enabled, right? So let me just make sure. So if you look at the destination, so my archive destination is CApp flash recovery, V11G3, and then archive logs. You know what? Let's just confirm that, right? So what I do is I'm gonna go into my file system. So I have CApp open. CApp, what did it say? CApp, flash recovery area. Okay. Okay. 11G283, and then it's archive log, as you can see. So I do have that this directory configured, which is good. So what I do next is if you do not, and again, so I have a and more of a if you do or if you do not scenario here. So if you do, then basically you can proceed to the next step. But if you do not, then basically you would have to shut down your database and fix your database in archive log mode. So what I'll do is I am going to, and then again, so what I also do here is I take you through how to set up your destination. So let's just say so I already have a specific destination for my archive log, right? So so generally what happens is that when you have a database, it's configured to, the log archive destination is configured as is set up as use underscore db recovery file desk. So if I was to do this, copy this basically I'll call that a more of a parameter, and then come to my window, and then just let me scroll down. So show parameter, and then just paste that into SQL Plus. No, actually, you know what? That's not what I meant. Show parameter db recovery file desk. There you go. So use db recovery file desk is actually it's a more of a So it's more of a setting. So what I'm trying to say when I say setting is, so if you were to have log archive destination, what you would also have is you would say, okay, log archive destination as opposed to having a location, you would say use underscore db recovery file desk, and db recovery file desk is the primary itself. When you prefix this with use, you actually this is more of a setting that you're configuring. So what I'll do is, okay, so I've already configured I already know what my archive log destination is. So what I'll do next is I'm just gonna, and again, so I take you step by step on how to configure your log archive destinations. So what I'll do is I'm gonna, I've already enabled I've already enabled my archive log mode. I'm going to place this enable archive log mode for my database. So what I'll do next is I need to make sure that force logging is also enabled. So I'm going to run this query to select force underscore logging from our database, right? So I need to give myself some space and run that. So I currently do not have force logging, right? So what I need to do is, if force logging is set to yes, proceed to the next steps. But if force logging is set to no, run the command alter database force logging to enable force logging. So what I'll do is I'm going to run this command. So copy this and then just paste it on my SQL Plus line. There you go. So what I'll do next is I'm going to rerun my select force logging from read our database, right? Give myself some space. So now my force logging is enabled. So force logging basically ensures that all of my commit transactions are being committed to a log. So uh, basically this lessens the chances of me losing data and not being able to and not having it and having it a database that's not really consistent, which basically means that you have users who have access to which basically, so it gets to the realm of, okay, you have data integrity issues, you have corruption issues. So and again, so you enable force logging to ensure that you have that all the transactions that are being committed are actually being captured, and again forcefully, and then basically, and those are being, eventually being transferred to the standby database. So what I'll do is, this step is optional. So this is just confirm that you're using a password file, right? So if I was to do this, just copy this. You can do this. You can run this query. Basically, I know I'm using a password file. Or you can go into your file system, go into product, database, you go into your Oracle Home, and then go into the database folder, and then you should see a password file for your database. So it's going to be pwd. Let me actually take you to my password file location. So if I was to go to app, go to product, 11.2, db home 1, and go to look into my database folder. Then basically I have this is my database file. So now I'm using a password file. So, but if you want to just take a short route, then basically you can just run that query to your SQL Plus, and basically it's going to tell you, okay, sysdba, that you are using a password file for your current user. So what I'll do next is I'm going to set my db name parameter, and also my db underscore unique name. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to run a show parameter db name. So just to confirm, I know that my database name is actually v11g2 h3. So what I'll do is I'm gonna paste that on here. So, and again, so that's my database, that's my db name parameter, a db name value. So then I'm gonna run show parameter db unique name. So the reason why I'm doing db unique name is, so with DataGuard software, you are actually assigning a database unique name for your primary and standby database. But and those are different names for your databases. But in terms of the DB name parameter, that value is actually the same across your databases. Because and again, so what you're doing is you have the communication going on taking place internally. So you're not configuring you're not configuring a different DB name for your database. You're only configuring different values for your DB underscore unique name settings. So what I'll do is um, just paste that and then confirm what my DB unique name is. So it's V11G2H3, right? So generally, I mean, so these two settings are the same. And you would have to, if you wanted to assign a different value for your DB to a DB unique name, for your configuration, let's say you wanted to say, you wanted to make it clear that you have a common name for anybody you wanted to, put, just modify it a bit. You're able to do that, and then basically what it just means that you have to, you have to use that the modified, the DB unique name in your configurations, which is different and which is configured by you, the user. So what I'll do is, I am going to change all these values, right? So this is for my old um data guard setup history. Okay. So and again, you do have the option of changing the DB unique name parameter. So what I'll do is I'm going to set up my data guard so I'm gonna configure my data guard settings on my primary database. So what you have to do is you need to set these two parameters. You need to run these two parameters on the SQL, inside of SQL Plus. So I'm gonna run this first command. This first command. So what you're doing here is you're actually just saying to Oracle that so I have data files and I have some video log files, and what I want you to do is I want you to basically just capture these data files and video log files, and basically you would have a communication or a transfer between these two services or databases, right? So regardless of what the name is, I want you to be able to convert what you're capturing from one database to the other the database that's also included in the settings. So what that means is that any data files coming from the standby database is going to be converted into a proper into a data file that's more acceptable for my primary environment. And then basically what I'm doing is I'm going to set up I'm gonna configure these same settings on my standby database, and basically I'm gonna reverse these two values. So what I'll do is I'm gonna run this command, copy that, come to SQL Plus, paste it, and remember you have to specify a scope. So I'm gonna go with scope for SP file. So and again, so if you're not familiar with what scope means, basically with scope you have to that means that I have to restart my database for these changes to be applied permanently to my database. So what I'll do is I'm gonna run this command. Okay, so log file name convert, that's fine. Okay, so what I'll do next, I'm gonna run the DB file name convert. So copy this, and also all these instructions I'm going to run out, they are available on my channel. Under the discussion section. This all you gotta do is go to them and modify it to fit your database, your data guard, your databases. Change your database name to fit your data guard environment, and basically you have yourself a list of commands that can take you to your configuring your data guard environment. So I've just enabled these two settings, right? Compare these two settings, DB file and convert and log file and convert. What I'll do next, I need to also enable standby file management, right? This is the parameter that's going to allow for my the data to be transferred across the databases. So what I need to do is just to confirm that it's not already set up. I'm going to run the show parameter standby file management. So copy that, come to my SQL Plus and paste it. Show parameter. Yeah, let's see. Paste. There we go. Okay. So it's actually set to manual right now, right? Which is I need to change it to auto. I want it to be automatic. I do not want to have to be able. Do not want to be responsible for having to apply any data across my databases. I want it to be done by Oracle and not myself or any other DBA. So what I'll do is I'm going to run this command: the auto system set standby file management is equal to auto. So you have two settings. You have manual, you have auto. So what I'll do is paste it on here, and then system is auto, right? So you know what? It's getting really very cloudy up there. So let me just turn off my uh, command prompt. Go back into SQL Plus. Okay, what is going on? Next, what I'll do is I'm going to configure my log archive config, right? By configuring my log archive config, this is the one of the most important configs that you can make for your data guard setup. Basically, what you're doing is you're actually pointing to the different services that are going to be part of that are going to be that are going to be communicating inside of your data guard configuration. So first thing what you want to do is I'm going to run this command. So it's going to be auto system set log archive config dg underscore config, and then you have the different services. So and again, so what I'm doing what I'm going to do is I'm going to change h3 to reflect the new database. And for this one, you do not have to put the scope. This is going to take effect immediately. So just copy this and come to SQL Plus and run it. Paste it. There you go. And so in terms of this command, the auto system set log, the log, this parameter log, the parameter log config. What you're able to do is you can have multiple standby database. So if you look at what I have here at the bottom, so I have you're able to basically have multiple DB unique names. So you would have DB unique name one for the primary database, 2 for your standby database, 3 for your standby database, and however many databases standby database that you have that you're configuring for your data environment. And you also gotta remember, so you have the maximum is 30 standby database that you can configure for 11G, and that's up from the 9 that you can configure prior to 11G. So what I'll do next is I'm going to then run the auto system set log archive -1 location c app v11g, and I'm gonna have this configuration with a valid underscore for all log files, and this is gonna be for my log archive -1. And again, log archive -2 is gonna be it's gonna point to my service, which is my standby service, capturing all our log files in primary role. And again, just having my DB unique name. So what's the first thing I need to do is I need to change I want to change my from H3 to H3. So change this. And also, if you can recall, I do not. This is not actually my folder, my directory path, right? I have. So for me, it's actually archive logs. So if you can recall. So let me just confirm that. So it's C app flash recovery area, v11g to h3 archive logs, right? So what I'll do is I am going to change that to, and again, so you have to be precise, right? With this configuration, if you mess it up, then basically you won't have the transfer the redo data transfer successfully across your databases. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this command, and also if you look at what I have here, so I have this script, right? So after this setting divided 4, all of our rows. Well, I'm pointing to my DB unique name. So make sure that I change that. So what you're doing is you're actually just you're making it clear to Oko that this is this is a change that I'm looking to implement to to this database, right? So what I'll do is and again, so here you actually specify the scope. So let me do this, copy this, come to my SQL Plus client, and then paste it. There you go. And then next, I'm gonna set my log of this too. And again, so first one is location, the second one is service. And again, I will do the same thing on my standby database. So just copy this. Before I do that, let me just make sure. So valid for online log files, primary role, okay, that's fine. DB unique name, that's fine. And scope is SP file. And this is, and I know, this is also tricky, but the valid for setting. Just remember the first one is all log files and all rows, and then the second one is actually basically online log files and primary rows. So it's gonna get confusing, but basically I think if you can just just remember that if you have a service and you have the primary or online log files, and if you have a location, you have all log files and all the different rows. So what I'll do is I'm going to copy this command and then come to my SQL Plus and paste it. There you go. So what I'll do next is I'm going to then this is more of a this is a step you don't have to do. So the reason why I'm saying you don't have to do it is if you were to do, okay, so I'm looking to enable my desk two, right? So by default, it's already enabled. To confirm it, so I'm going to type show parameter log underscore archive desk state. So it's going to tell me, okay, so all these desks are already enabled. So obviously desk state 1, which is my destination 1, is already enabled, and also my second one, which is my service one, is also enabled. So I do not have to do this. I don't have to repeat this configuration. And then what I'll do next is I'm going to create file copies. So I'm going to create a copy of the P file for my. So I'm taking the primary database, the P file primary database, modify that P file, and then using that P file to start my standby database. So I'm going to copy my the P file, and I'm also going to copy I'm also going to create a standby control file for my standby database. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to run this command. So I'm going to run auto database create standby control file as C app, and again, so you can portray any directory any folder location or any path. So what I'll do is I'm just going to copy this, come to my client, give myself some space, paste it. There you go. So after you run this, you should have a file that's available in your app folder. So let me just confirm it. Go to app. So if I go looking at app, I currently have V11G2SD control, which is the file, which is the standby control file that I just created. So what I'll do next is I'm going to create a P file for that I'll use to start my standby database. So I'm going to run a create P file, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this P file in my database in the database folder, which is where I have all of my where I have the P file for all my other database from my primary database. So what I'll do is I'm gonna and again P file, so you have to put in it before it. And again, so create P file from SP file. So what I'll do is just run this command on SQL Plus. Minimize this. So I just created, if you look at it, so I just created a file, right, my P file. So I'm gonna go into my file system, go into database, and then inside the database I should have a P file, right? So it's the init v11g2st, right? So that's the P file for my standby database. So what I'll do next is I'm going to create some data file copies for my standby database. So this is really important. You have to, and again, so you follow these instructions and make sure that if you do not complete them, if you do not complete all of them, then basically you're gonna find yourself with a data guard setup that's not gonna work. So just make sure you follow these instructions step by step. So what I'll do next is I'm gonna create new folders for my standby database, right? So first thing I'll do is I need to create folders for my archive video log file. So I already have that. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go into my app project area, right? So this is where I have archive logs for my Pami database. What I'll do is I'm gonna create a folder here for my standby database. So I'm gonna call it v11g2st. And then inside of this folder, I'm also gonna create a folder called archive logs. So you can do this with Windows. This is the benefit of using Windows. You can do it manually. You can just run commands to your your command prompt. So that would mean basically you would just say, okay, so if you have to create a folder, it actually let's say archive log, right? So you would say, okay, you would run the make dir command. So let's just say, for example, I'm here, so copy that. So let's say mk dir and paste that, and then make directory, let's say dir. So there you go. This is how you would do it using command prompt. You can, and again, so this is more applicable to a Linux environment. But if you're in Windows, you can just do it directly, right? So let me just delete this file and go on to the next folder that I actually created. So I've just created my archive relog file, right? What I need to do next, I'm going to create and again, so basically, so the archive relog file, and also I just took out a flash recovery area, which basically, so fetch query area, when I say fetch query area, I'm referring to the archive log specifically. So what I'll do is I'm going to create my control file location. So let's just make sure. So go to app, and then from app, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into over data, and then inside over data, I need to create a folder for my standby database. So you know what? Let's actually do it to the command line. So let's run make dir, and then copy this, paste it on here, and then so it's gonna be v11g2st. So I have a new folder, right? So let me just make sure. So I just created I've already created the folder for my flash inside of the flash recovery area. I just created a folder inside of my all data folder on directory path, and again, so yeah, so these two are pretty much the same. This will come first, and then this is the next command. So this is basically you can do it manually. So it's take care of these two steps at one time. So next I'm gonna go into directory, and I'm gonna change I'm gonna send I'm gonna basically take my control file, standby control file that I created, that I created using the autodatabase command. and then I'm going to create control files for my standby database using that standby control file. So what that means is, so what I'll do is I'm going to come to my command prompt. So actually, you know what? Let me put this window here. So I'm going to run the cd to c app. And if you remember, that control file um, that standby control file copy is right here. So what I do is minimize this. So cd etc app. I have two CDs. Okay, cd etc app. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a standby a control file for my standby database. So I'm gonna run this command. So I'm gonna run the move v11g2sd for my standby control file, and then move this into a new control file. And then what I'm doing is I'm changing the name for that control file to control01 standby. So come to your command prompt, paste it. There you go. So one file is removed. So just make sure. So let me go into my old data folder. So old data. Going to v11gst. So this is my control file, the control that I just created. So what I'll do is I'm going to create an additional copy for my control file, right? So this is called multiplexing. What you're doing is you're having multiple copies of your control file. So that means that if you experience a system failure, database failure, or any kind of anything, if your database malfunction and you need to bring it up, you need to bring it back up. Basically, you have a second copy of the control file, and that will make it easy. That will make your life a whole lot easier. So basically, what you need to do is you need to. I'm gonna multiplex my control file. So I'm gonna run this command. I'm gonna run copy the control01, and then I'm gonna copy this into my flash recovery area, v11gst, okay, g2st, and then control02 standby.ttl. So copy this just to make sure. So I have c app flash recovery area, right? So I'm already in c app. You know what? Just to make sure. Okay, so let me do this. I'm not gonna. I don't want to screw this up. So it's gonna be C. App over data, and then v11g2sd. There you go. So let me do this. Copy this. The reason why I did that is if I had not done it, then what I would have what I what I what I what I would have had to do is I would have had to just switch to to this directory, so into this directory to be able to have access to that file. But to sort of show the process, I just created extended my directory path allocation. So run this. Control in my control file is being copied. So if I go into C app flash recovery area, v11gs2sd, and then so this is what I got my control file. So what I'll do next is, and again, so this is called multiplexing. What you're just taking your control file and you're starting a copy of it in a different location, preferably on a different at a different site. So what I'll do next is I am going to change the values inside of my parameter file. So if you can if you remember, so what I did is I created a P file for my from my primary database. So let me do this. I'm gonna go into this. Come on. Okay, let me just do this from this file system. So I'm gonna go into product 11g2. I mean 11.2. DB home 1, and then go into database. And then so what I'll do is I'm gonna modify my P file now. So open your P file. I prefer to use Notepad. And you can use Notepad++, but I prefer to use Notepad because it's I don't know. I tried Notepad++. I'm not able to read the script, and yeah, and again, so you do have more settings with Notepad++, but again, just try the two text documents out, and then set it on and figure out what works best for you. So what I do is I'm gonna make my P file really simple, right? So I'm gonna get rid of any basic any file that any setting that doesn't need to be configured, right? And actually, if you notice here at the top, so I have the V um what what I need to do is, so I'm gonna change. I'm gonna use this file as a reference point for the folder that I'm creating on my file system, right? So if I go into my file system, so if I go into C app, if I go into admin, and basically, so this is, and again, so keep in mind, I'm gonna modify um this P file to reflect my standby database, the files and the folder location for my standby database, right? So, and again, so this is something I want to change to SD. And again, so what I'll do is, if you look at the P file sample that I have here, I do not have this setting, because I don't think you definitely do not need it basically to start your standby on database. So what I do is, I am going to actually get rid of this setting, and then so let me just make sure. So what do I need? So I'm going to start with control file, right? So compatible, no, get rid of compatible and get rid of audit trail. Okay, control file. Let me just make sure. So control file is actually ST, right? So take this away, ST. Uh, ST, and if you can, the name for my control file is actually control01 standby, right? So if I can show you one more time, so it's gonna be in C app, admin, go back, or data. This is it, control01 standby. So control01 standby, and then what I do is, and again, so this is the same thing for my second control file, control02 standby. Okay, so I have those two my control files configured. Next, I'm gonna go into my DB block. Okay, DB block, I do have that. DB domain, I do not need that, so I'll get rid of it. DB file name convert. So these settings. So what I'm doing for now is I'm gonna get rid of these settings. Right, you can do this manually at the end. You can just rerun the commands that I ran with Harmony Database to apply these settings to your standby database. It's very simple. So what I'll do is I'm just gonna delete this. DB name v11g2. Remember, I told you the DB name value should be the same both for the primary and the standby databases, so you do not change that. Let me go into, okay, so what else do I need? So diagnosis test. Okay, I left that there. So get rid of, I'm gonna get rid of, you know what, I don't need any of these settings, right? So let me get rid of all of these. So test to local config, local listener dispatcher, right? Okay. What I'll do next is, actually what I also did is I got rid of my lower car format. Let's just do that also. Generally, what you want to do is you wanna be very careful with the log archive format. That's the format for your, that's going to be used to record your archive redo logs. So you want to be able to track what format you're using. So generally speaking, you want to be able to figure it out on your own. Diagnosis sets, okay, log file name convert, so let's get rid of that. I would go to these settings after the database is started. So let me just confirm, right? So what do I have? So I have standby. Okay, definitely don't need standby for now. Okay, let me just make sure, let's just compare. So memory target, Okay, next target. Diagnose. Okay, DVD nickname. So I definitely need DVD nickname, right? So I'm gonna copy this and paste it in my you know, file. So DVD nickname is V11G2ST. So let me just confirm file test. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So I should be good to go, right? So what I'll do is I'm gonna save this file and close it. What I'll do next is I'm gonna go to and again, so just very important, don't change the DB name setting, the DB name value. You need to have the same value for, DB name value for the name value for DB for DB setting for all your databases. It's very important. Um, what I'll do next is I'm gonna copy my data files from my primary database to my standby database. So let me do this. Free. Still have my command prompt open. Yes. So just copy my data file. So and also just remember what I did, what I encountered, doing this is this guy has some duplicate files from time to time. So if you want to just just be mindful that possibly you can find yourself like replicating, having multiple copies of a data file, and you want to just get rid of, you definitely don't want to have that. You want to get rid of, of duplicates for your data file. So, and again, so what I'm doing now is I'm just copying all these files. So just to make sure, I'm gonna go into my file system. So I'm gonna go to C app O data v11g2st, right? So g2st. I hope that's it. Okay, so all these files are being copied. Example 01, saves all. So just be patient. And also, if I have here this is something that I came across. I was wondering. Okay, so okay, how do you? I was at first I was trying to copy entire folders, right? And the copy command is not gonna copy the folder. It's not gonna copy the file. So I came across, after doing some research, I came across this xcopy command. And with xcopy, what it does is it allows for you to basically copy entire folders. From one location to another location, right? So again, this is something you should find useful. If I don't know when, but this is just something that that will be very interesting for me. Um, what I'll do next is I'm going to create all the files are copied, right? The example is CSAR systems temp, undo, and users. So what I do next is I'm also gonna copy my password file. So the databases have to have the same password file. So basically that means that you be able to connect as whichever user across you be able to log into different databases, right? Because they all have the same the same they recognize the same users with the, with particular sets of credentials. So what I'll do is I'm gonna run this copy command, right? So I'm gonna copy my password file for, let me just make sure. So it's pwd h3, right? So I'm gonna copy my password file, and I'm gonna make a copy of my h3, my primary database password file, and then create it and then call that copy of my primary database to with the and then assign the name with the password copy of my primary database to as the pwd v11g2st that or. And again, so you have to remember, so that or is very important. If you leave that out, it's gonna give you that the file cannot that you cannot find the file. So you have to include the that or. So I'm gonna copy this. Uh, Paste it. There you go. One file should be copied. Let me just make sure. I hope it's copied. So go into database. No, it's not copied. Okay, so you know what? That was the command was too long. So what I'll do is I'm gonna take it piece by piece, right? So copy this. Um, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Definitely make any sense. So let me see. CF product DB home. CF product. Actually, no. CF product. I'm going to DB home. Oh, come on. Okay, anyways, what I do is I'm just gonna paste down here, and again, so that the command was too long. I'm gonna break it up into pieces. So database, or copy that, paste that on here, and then get some space. C app product. I hope that's enough. You know what? That might be. There you go. Then 11.2 DB home base. Okay, this should work. So paste it. There you go, one file has been copied, right? So now I have a pwd v11g2st. That's the a copied password file from my, a copied password file. A copied yeah, the password file from Pfile database has been copied and basically assigning and affecting my standby database. So what I'll do next is scroll down. What I'll do next is I'm gonna create a Windows service. So let me do this. I'm not sure if I can run it. So if you ever wondered, okay, so how do I go from my, from a directory to my Windows and then slash system32, right? So what you can do is type cd, type Windows, and then cd, and type system32. There you go. So what I'll do is I'm gonna create a Windows service. So over them, new SID, Pfile, pointing to my Pfile. So copy that and then paste it onto my command prompt. My service has been created. So what I'll do next is, what you can do is you can actually start you know what? What you want to do is, so what I've already done is I've created a I've created a listener for my database, right? So basically, what that means is um, I have a database service that's already been configured to my listeners. So you can I can add this standby database and also configure to the same listener. So open up Net Manager. I'll show you. So I have these two listeners, listener DG underscore one, and then DG1, and then listener DG2, right? So go to the first one. This should be the first one. So um, this is my old listener. So what I do is I'm gonna get rid of this one. Delete it. Yes. Come my second listener. So let's go database service. What I'll do is I would actually you know what, you can actually create a listener. So let's create a listener, right? So actually let's do this. Create a listener and listener underscore DG1 DG1. Okay. And then so listener should be just gonna add address. It's gonna, yeah, there you go. So you would just put your host name. what I need to do is I'm gonna add a database service. So database service, add database. What I do is I want to call, this is my v11g2 h3 for my database. Take my Oracle home, db home 1, copy that, paste that on here. V11g2 h3, okay, h3, okay. And so I have my database service. Okay, so what I do next is, let me just confirm it. So go to save network configuration. Go to my service name. So if you want to test your service, and again I've already created this. Just go to go to test the service, right? What I did is for my user, what I've already done is I've assigned I've unlocked the Scott user, right? So if I was to say you know what, exit, let's clear, and let's go to C++ again. Actually, you know what I need to do now is I'm gonna restart my database. So I'm gonna run shutdown immediate. So remember I had my I set all those I configured all those settings with a scope equal SP file. So with SP file, it means that you have to, as I've told you earlier, you need to restart the database for those changes to be applied to the SP file, and those then those settings will be persistent for the SP for the rest of the database cycle life cycle. So instance has been shut down. So let's start it up. After I start it up, I'm gonna test this. The account is locked. Okay. Issue. Okay. Let's see what's going on with that Scott user account. Okay, so basically, okay, there you go. Database is open, right? So let's do author user Scott account unlock. The user should be unlocked because I unlocked it yesterday. You know what? Let's test it. Okay, password expired. Okay, so let's find out. So let's do author user Scott identified by Tiger. So the reason why I'm assigning the password Tiger is because that's the password that Oracle configures as configures for this Scott user. So let's just test it again. So now it's successful, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close this. I have my service and it's working. And what I need to do next is I need to basically let's do this. So let's send off, okay, and then I'll actually do this. I'm gonna run status listener underscore dg1. I just want to confirm that my listener is working. So you know what? So it's not. Okay, so let's do this. Stop. You know what? Should I find service? Let's do this. Stop listener underscore dg1. Listener dg1. That listener should be running. Anyways, what I do is exit. Let's do this. Let's send ctl stop. Actually, you know what? Let me just make sure. So the listener is at. Let me confirm the listener port for this listener. So 1521 listener port is 1522. Okay, 1521 should be fine. P22. So uh, LSN CTL, LSN CTL. Okay, start listen underscore DG1. So this one. Anyway, so let's do status. LSN listener underscore DG1. See, okay, so let's do this. Start listener underscore DG2. Okay. Anyways, my listeners are not really that big of a deal. What I really want to do is I want to go into my services and then show you how to basically start it at the service because they already have they're already available. So let me actually do that. So open up services. So I'm gonna show you that these two services should be up and running, right? So let's do this. Expand this. So go to my listeners. So these two listeners should be up and running, right? I don't know why they're not. So okay. Let's see what the problem is. So I have these additional listeners. So what I'll do is I'm actually gonna get rid of I wanna get rid of this listener, right? So I wanna exit command line. So I'm gonna type sc delete and I'm gonna paste my listener name, paste that on here. There you go. Cancel should be gone. And then same thing for this one. Copy this. Sc delete. There you go. It's been stopped. Okay. Refresh it. Okay, this listener should be, let's see if I can start it. There you go, that's been started. So let's see if that changes anything, right? So Edison or CTL. Let's do this. Edison or CTL. And then status. Edison or listener underscore DG one. PG2. Start listener. Actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about these listeners coming out right now. Put this away. I know my service is running as I've just showed you, right? So what I do next is I just created my Windows service for my standby database. What I do next is I'm gonna go into that I'm gonna log into that service and then start up the database. So let's do this. I need my command prompt. My command prompt. I'm going to set my OPS ID to V11G2SD, right? So just copy that. So before I do that actually, so let me just clear my command prompt. So run set oracle sid v11d2st, right? So paste it. Set oracle sid. So now I need to run. I'm gonna run equal plus assist dba to log into my SQL, connect my instance. So again, so this is the command that I have up here. So what I'll do next, I'm gonna run startup mount pfile, and I'm pointing to the pfile that I just modified earlier. So just copy that and paste that onto my SQL Plus client. So and run it. So okay, we can start it. What I'll do next, I'm gonna go choose these configurations again, right? So what I was doing before is I had so the database has been mounted, which is which is a wonderful thing. So before what I was doing is I was actually I had st in the first as the first parameter value, and then I had history as the second parameter value. But now it's gonna be I'm gonna have these in reverse, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run and again, so the same thing for this the db underscore config. I just reverse the two values, parameter values. So I'm gonna run auto system set local config, right? Copy this and paste it. There you go. Okay, so v2 no, that's not what I want to do. So if you see, then I'm pointing to my old database, right? Which is you definitely want to do that. I mean, I don't want to do that, of course. I'm using a new database, right? So we run that. So what I'll do is let's do a show parameter log underscore archive underscore config. So there you go. The value's been changed. Okay, so what I'll do next, I'm gonna run auto system set db file name convert. And then so it's gonna be db file name convert, log file name convert, and log archive dest. And and again, so it's the same basically the same settings that I configured on my primary database. So paste it on here. Let me just make sure. PTSD, the file, nothing. Okay. Scope file. Okay. So I made a mistake here, right? So what I need to do now is I should have created an SP file for this for my database. So what I do is, as you can see, I skipped this step here. So what I do is, before I go any further, I'm gonna create an SP file for my P file. Copy that and paste that on here. So let's do this. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so create SP file and create SP file from P file. Um, let's do this. Create SP file. But, no, I'm not sure I'm immediate. Create SP file from P file is equal to this is my P file. Okay. Okay. So let's do a shutdown. Immediate. So let's go into my database, confirm SD file being created, or you know what? Hi, what do I do? Shouldn't have done that. Okay, let's do this. Exit SQL plus. Okay, let's try that again. So start a mod Pfile. Okay, create SD file from Pfile. Okay, so what I do next is get SD file from Pfile. So I definitely I shouldn't have skipped that step. Okay, SD file what I'll do is okay, create SD file. So let's shut down one more time. And let's see if I can actually start the database without the LP file. Startup. Uh, can I open DB? Yeah, so that's what I figured. Dang it. Okay. So DB home to database. Yeah, that's what I figured. So we startup mount. Okay. Let's do create SD file for file. Has been created. SD file. Okay. So what I do next is I'm going to yeah. I am just going to then for the sake of the demo, I'm gonna do a shutdown immediate, and then I'm gonna start it up in my P file. So startup mount. So you know what? I'm gonna copy this file, and then eventually I'm gonna have to find a way to reset the settings to my to this location. And again, this is the price that that I'm paying for forgetting to create a P file immediately after logging, starting up the database with my create SPI file immediately after starting my database using the P file. So let's do this. What do I have to do next? So okay, so let me rerun those settings, right? So auto system vh2 h3. So actually, you know what? Let's just confirm it. Show parameter log archive config. It's not set. So let's set it. Copy that. Paste that. There you go. There you go. And then run these auto system set commands. And again, so you notice that what I needed to change to my SP file because I need that. You have to specify the scope here. So copy this. That's why that create SP file and P file was so crucial. So logicap does cf h. Okay, if you can remember. So what I do is, and again, just confirm it, right? So it's v11g2st, and let's just make sure archive logs. So it should be archive logs, right? So I'll go back. v2st archive logs. Let's change that. There you go. Change it. Okay. And then DB. Okay. That's fine. Service. Change that. And again, so as I was telling you earlier, basically the first one, the location is all logs, all log files on all rows, and for the service is the online log files at the primary row. So what I do next, I'm gonna run. Let me just minimize this. System set DB file name convert. Okay. I'm gonna run other system set log archive -1, and I can't take all of this off. I'm gonna do it step by step. So flash recovery 11G2. Okay. Copy that. Okay. And also, just so you know, this is gonna be a very long tutorial. It's probably gonna be about five, probably 5, 6 parts series. So yes, there's a lot involved with using data guard. So copy that and then paste that here. What did I do? I probably don't need SP file. Okay, where did I go wrong? Oh, this system set. Okay. Ah, I didn't leave the space. There you go. So again, so it was a minor error. So my mistake on my part. So what I'll do next is, so I have this1 configured. Next I also need to configure this2. So copy, let's say maybe to valid should be fine. So copy this, paste it, and then let's copy up to let's say the primary row. Hopefully it's gonna take it. There you go. And then db name st scope st file. Copy that and then paste it. Okay, that should be fine. There you go. So what I'll do next is I'm gonna shut down the database and I'm gonna start it up next in mount mode again. So to apply these changes to make these changes to my standby database permanent. So shut down, immediate, and then start up mount. Yes, as you can see, I have here basically you want to apply these changes to you want to make these changes permanent. Okay. Start up mount. Let's have this too. Let's see what's going on here. So he says, that's deconflicting. Okay, copy the space. So I'm gonna save that and then close it. Oh, come on. Yeah, I thought so. Don't save. I'm gonna change my properties here. I need to have access to these files. Okay. So just change that, save it, close it, start up, mount, file, init, v11g2, st, that's over. There you go. So it was that one setting, and you know what? Before I committed that auto system command, I thought about leaving that space, and I definitely should have done that. So let's delete the SP file. So now create SP file from P file. There you go. I have myself a new SP file. So let's go back to the instructions. So now I need to apply any missing archive video logs to my standby database, right? So what I need to do is I'm gonna place my I'm gonna set my log source, which is 1. So let me just confirm. So I have, let's go to history, archive logs. Okay, so let me just modify it here. So set log source to um let's see what do I have that. Okay, set log source app history and then archive logs. Archive log. Okay. So let me run that on my command prompt, on my SQL Plus client. I mean, so paste that on here. Okay, that is definitely. And again, so I think that's one of the downsides of running of using our Notepad. You have these runoffs as far as the basically your text. Yeah, so come on, you know what I am trying to do. Okay, fetch cover area. You know what? Yeah, there you go. It was that simple. Uh, Now I want to recover my archive video log files. So what I'll do is I'm going to run this command: recover standby database until cancel using backup control file. So copy that, paste that on here. So it's gonna ask me, okay, so which archive video log file do you want to apply, right? So I'm gonna go into my file system and confirm. So um, which archive video log file am I currently on? So I need to have sequence. I'm looking for sequence 38, right? Which is this one, 38. So let me look into my file system. So I have 38. So okay, what I'll do is since I'm actually looking at my archive log file, I'm just gonna press enter, and that archive log file is gonna be applied to my standby database. So, but if the archive log file was in a different location, I would have to just basically, let's say if it was if it was in my SD folder, I would have to copy the SD folder, copy the entire path, and then eventually copy the archive log name and then and paste that on this window. Basically, just as one single directory directory path. So I'm looking for 39 now. So let me just confirm. So 39, I do have 39. So press enter again. And there you go. And then I have 40. I do have 40. So let's go to 40. Press enter again. Okay, so it's gonna ask for 41. I don't have 41, right? So I can't add an archive relog that I don't have. So I'm gonna press cancel. I'm just gonna type cancel. There you go. So what I do next is, okay, put a standby database in manage recovery mode. So basically, and again, so what manage recovery mode is, when you push your database in this mode, the redo data that is transferred from your primary database is automatically applied to your standby database. So how to do that is you would run this command to auto database recover, manage standby disconnect from sessions. So actually, you know what? Before I do that, I need to exit my SQL Plus, because if I don't do that, if I don't exit, there's an error. I'm gonna receive an error, and basically it's gonna say, okay, so you have, there's some sort of incompatibility between these two recovery methods. So let me do this. After I recover manage standby database disconnect from session. Okay, so I'll just paste my database in manage recovery mode. If I want to take it out of manage recovery mode, just keep in mind. So if you have a common database, you have a standby database, you have a data configuration, right? You want to leave your database in manage recovery mode. So that's, and again, so the read is going to be applied automatically. You would take your database out of recovery mode if you wanted to query the data. So basically that means that you will be able to, you will have to run the next command, which I have here, which is the auto database recover manage standby this database cancel. So let's take our database out of manage recovery mode. Um, so you know what? So let's do this. So what I'll do next is I am going to. So here you have if you so basically how log file how archive log files are applied to your standby databases. They have to be once your data once you commit data using the commit command, basically Oracle is responsible for cutting off the archive log files. Based periodically, right? But if you want to force Oracle to cut off an archive log file, you would just run this command. The auto system set the auto system archive log current. So I still have access to my primary database. So remember, I have these two databases. I have my primary is on the right and my standby is on the left. So if I want to change my archive logs, so this one archive auto system archive log current, or I can also use auto system switch log file. So these are the same thing. So paste that. So what I need to do is, so I've just created two new archive logs, right? So I have to go into my file system, and I actually have these two additional archive logs. So what I do next is I'm gonna let me actually minimize this. I'm gonna run that auto database recover. Recover my database until canceling me back from the profile. So I'm gonna run that again. I'm gonna apply 41 and 42. Okay, so let me bring this to the side. Okay. Yeah, no, that's not what. Okay, so have you noticed the mistake that I made? So basically, I did not set a log source, right? So let me do this. So let me set the log source actually. So set log source. There you go. There you go. So 41, just press enter, and then 42, and just make sure. So scroll down, 42, right? 42. So press enter again. So what I'll do is, I know I have all my archive redo logs have been applied to my standby database. What I'll do next is I'm going to run, I'm gonna open my database in, I'm gonna open up my standby database, right? So let me actually do this. So let's cancel. Here we go, we cancel. So let's run auto database open. So what I need to do next is, you also have the option of, you can run this command. You can, before opening your database, you can actually run the auto database activate standby database, which is actually going to convert your physical standby database to your to a primary database permanently. So you want to avoid this. You want to avoid running this command unless you have to. Again, depending on what your circumstance is. Um, what I'll do next is, and again, so let me just confirm. So let's type select open mode v dollar database read only, select database row v data the physical standby. Wonderful. So there you go. There you go. We have ourselves a physical standby database. And then eventually I'm going to go into, you know what? I'm going to go into, these creating these standby log files and the significance of having these files on your databases. And I'm gonna, you know what? And also, the file. So basically, I really don't want to jump ahead of myself here, so I'm not gonna do it. So these two parameters, I'm gonna cover these two parameters later on, and eventually I'm gonna set them into on my primary and my standby database. Okay, this is the end of the tutorial. For now, thank you so much for watching.